Hey everybody, welcome to Golazo. We have a special one-on-one as I chat to former Manchester United legend, Andy Cole. He joins me for a chat about Man United then, Man United now, and so much more, including all the work he does in regards to kidney research and his autobiography, Fast Forward. Stay here because Golazo with Andy Cole begins right now. Well, it's a very special edition of Que Golazo, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome, honestly, one of the greatest players the game has ever seen. A Newcastle United and, of course, Manchester United legend and current ambassador, Andy Cole. He's the third highest goal scorer in Premier League history with 187 goals and holds Premier League records for most goals scored in a 42-game season and fastest to score 50 goals. He did that in 65 matches. Including the 5 leagues titles he won with United. He's part of the historic 98-99 treble winning squad, forming, may I add, one of the most dynamic partnerships up front with my Villa hero, Dwight Yorke. He is one of the only English players who's literally won everything, from the Champions League to Young Player of the Year, and an incredible career that has lasted more than 20 years. But Andy is more than that. After his own personal story and struggles due to a kidney transplant in 2017, he is an advocate for kidney research, which includes his own organization, the Andy Cole Fund. But he also does a lot for the Black, Asian, ethnic, and minority community, as well as an honest person who talks about the mental and physical challenges of life after a kidney transplant and so much more. And we're here to talk about it and his beautiful autobiography, which I read, Fast Forward, which includes a foreword from the great Sir Alex Ferguson. Andy, it's an honor to have you here. Apologies for the long intro, but you are worth it, my friend. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Honestly, we're going to get into it about everything. First of all, how are you as COVID continues to impact our lives? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like everybody else, you know. I think this lockdown we're having at the moment in the UK it's a tough one. You know, I think this has been the toughest one of them all. You just don't know what's happening. So just got to try to keep your head down and keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially during a lockdown, it's just about keep moving forward. Listen, one of the things that really impacted me with you was your 2 chats with Donald McRae for The Guardian, my former employer, actually, back in the day. It was just beautiful, honest, sad, but also really inspiring as you discussed your mental and physical obstacles due to your kidney transplant. How do you use that to spread hope and strength, aside from obviously the Andy Fund organization? How do you do that with everything that's going on? Because I'm imagining it's even harder now with COVID and everything.
How do I do it? I don't know. I mean, the way I look at things, you know, ultimately I've got to do it. It's as simple as that. I ask myself sometimes, how do I do it? And the answer I come out of, I don't know. Mentally, it's tough. Physically, it's tough. But I'm trying to get somewhere. I'm not quite sure where I'm trying to get to yet. But when I get there, I'll let everybody know.
Well, I think you're doing just fine. I mean, not just fine, but I think everything that I see from you and just the work that you're putting in, and to be honest with you, you may not see it because it's just an article or whatever, but the message that comes across is so powerful to so many. You know, I lost my mother to cancer. I lost my father to cancer as well. But like, it's about moving forward, stepping forward. And to me, honestly, that's the biggest message that I got across, especially from reading your book. It's about just step by step forward and forward. And it's very inspiring to see.
Yeah, I think, you know what, my mum and dad always used to say to me when I was younger, you know, you've got to walk before you can run. And when you're younger and you're very ignorant when you're young, and you turn around and say, no, I can run before I walk. It's not feasibly possible. But it's not until you find yourself in certain situations that you realize, you know, all the things that your parents say to you when you're younger, that always seems to rear their head at some stage of life. And it always seems to come a full circle because it's the truth. So I think what I've tried to do, I try to take every day as it comes. You know, there's good, there's bad, there's indifferent, but my mentality is just keep going. You know, I've had, yeah, certain individuals let you down along the way, but it's how you deal with it. You have to deal with it first and foremost by yourself before anybody else can help you deal with anything.
Yeah, well said. Well said. There's a line in your book, I guess is the most, is the biggest line, I guess, most impactful line for me, where I'm not sure whether life prepared me for football or football prepared me for life. What did you mean by that?
What do I mean by that? I think in life, we all go through ups and downs, but you never realize what those ups and downs are going to be until they actually come to hit you, because life should be a lot easier than what we make it, but we make things complicated for whatever reason. It's a little bit like football. Football is an easy game complicated by fools. Unfortunately, we're the fools in it that complicate it. So I just try and marry them both together and try and make sense out of nonsense. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at with you, I think. It's just about simplifying the things that don't need to be so difficult. When you look at players like, well, honestly, actually, my other question, aside from COVID, the other thing as well has been just, how Black and minority players, the things that they've had to struggle this past year. When you look at that, like, what do you think, like, in terms of comparing it to when you were playing?
Oh man, I don't know. It disappoints me. It upsets me. That Black and minority individuals are still going through all this nonsense. I don't want to say it's something that we should continue to live with, because we're at that stage, 2021, and all this nonsense continues to rear its head. It continues to get brushed on the carpet, then it comes out again. Look, you can't sweep things like that under the carpet. You have to address it head on. And the more you try and flit around the edges, the more it's going to rear its head and the more it's going to cause problems. And that's exactly what it's doing at the moment. It's causing problems because no one actually wants to deal with the problem. So if you continue not to deal with the problem, it's going to cause more problems. And that's the way it's going at the moment. And until someone wants to try and deal with this issue directly, the more and more problems that it will cause.
Yeah. What do you make of Marcus Rashford? Because I think
in footballing terms,
right? I just think we're talking about things that are going on in the world, society, and everything, and obviously we're all dealing with our own internal struggles, and also things that are happening from a societal perspective. And then I think about somebody like Marcus Rashford, who, I mean, forget the football, who a tremendous talent. Somebody that plays for your club, represents your, you're the ambassador of Manchester United. I'm just very interested to hear your thoughts on such an amazing human being and everything that he's doing. What do you make of it? Do you talk to him at all?
Yeah. I haven't had the opportunity to speak to him due to the COVID situation we find ourselves in, but I think he's done an unbelievable job for such a young man wanting to help out so many underprivileged kids, because we always say, the children are the future. And so if we don't look after the future, where we're going. So what Marcus has done, like I said, he's been brilliant. I genuinely don't believe it should have taken someone like Marcus to have done this. We have more people in this country, to be doing things like that. But that's a testament to Marcus, to why he done it. He mentioned that when he was younger, he had the same problems. His mum working a couple of jobs and, struggling to make ends meet. So I just think it's unbelievable that such a young man, can do such a thing. Naturally, if it detracts from his football, people are going to start questioning that as well. But you have to put football aside when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like you said, you shouldn't need a Marcus Rashford to highlight and act on things that need it. But it's just a tremendous person. Listen, Andy, I want to ask you something. Let's now move to perhaps brighter topics. Let's talk about you back in the day. As I told you before we started taping, My father, you know, God bless his soul, not here with us. You know, I'll never forget it. You know, in the treble winning year, he would call me and just gloat over my hero, Dwight York, leaving Aston Villa and joining Man U, and then you creating one of the most amazing partnerships in the history of the game. How was it playing not just with Dwight, but with that squad under the great Sir Alex Ferguson, who, by the way, writes the foreword for your book? What was it like?
Yeah, it was a special time in my career, just like it was a special time, no doubt, in the rest of the boys' careers as well. It was a football played with big smiles on our face. You know, Yorkie was always being with his smiles, but for me, internally, I was always smiling, you know, to be involved in something so successful. You know, I think when you decide to do anything in life, you always want to try and leave a legacy, you know, and I'd like to believe when I'm no longer here, people look back and say, yeah, I've been fortunate to leave a legacy that, you know, young black kids will aspire to say, oh, Andy Cole was able to do this, and, you know, we know just our toughest path was to get to where he got to, but we genuinely believe we can do it as well, because that's what it's about. You know, it's just trying to leave a little message for other people as well. So, you know, whatever you're going to do, nothing in life's easy, but you can get there with hard work and perseverance.
Well, I mean, if you remember my intro, Andy, it was pretty long for one specific reason: the legacy that as a player you have just left behind. And as you mentioned, not just as an English striker, but as a black player in the Premier League, and just such an inspiration to so many. It was really quite an amazing time. I remember it so much, the things that you did, not just for Manchester United, of course, Newcastle before that, etc. What was it like working under Sir Alex Ferguson?
For me personally, excuse me, the best manager I could ever work for, especially at that stage of my career as well. And I think you're always going to get to that stage of your career when, you know, you're going to need someone to tell you that you need to toe the line. You know, there's times when you want to take liberties, but someone said, no, you're going to have to do it this way. And he was very good at that. You know, discipline, man management, all those kind of things. He had an abundance, you know, and with all that, you know, everyone respected him to the highest level. And you can't ask for much more. And as a player, you know, he always knew how to get the best out of me.
Yeah, and that happened indeed. Would you say the 98-99 season was the most memorable for you? Is there any other time in your career that you think higher than that?
No, most probably not for what we achieved in the end. But I think my time at Manchester United, you know, going through the process, learning everything about the football club, what it details to become a top Manchester United player. You know, you don't learn things like that overnight. And all those things are definitely a process, and you have to try and work and work and work. You know, but 99, nothing will ever surpass that in a footballing terms for me personally. But the craziest thing is now, you know, I seem to get as much of a buzz and much of a thrill to see my son play, to see my son score goals. You know, I think every time my son scores a goal, I get tearful, you know, because I'm actually still living my dream. You know, I've completed my dream, but I'm still living my dream via my son, watching my son do so well.
Absolutely. Devante Cole, who plays for Motherwell. Do you go, have you been able to go up there or see it? Or obviously it's difficult now, but have you had a chance?
I haven't. COVID's stopped me from doing a lot of things, just like everybody else, you know. But I think for me, yesterday was, you know, when my son sent me a clip of the goal he got last night. You know, I thought that was real special of him. But you know, I'm just a proud dad in the end of the day, and you know, I had to post his goal on my IG yesterday to show everyone that I'm still a punter, but I'm just a proud dad. That's all I am. You know, don't worry about what I've achieved, about what my son's doing now.
Well, I'm looking at the goal now. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You will take it indeed. All right, listen, let's talk about Manchester United now. I know by the time listeners get hear this, it'll be 2 days since then, but that Sheffield United loss, what do you make of it?
I spoke about that this morning, and man, I was so upset, man. I thought I actually played last evening. I'm not going to sit and say, yeah, I expect us to go on to win the league, but I genuinely do expect us to go out there and, you know, um, beat teams like Sheffield United, regardless what the Premier League's about. I know there's no easy games in the Premier League. I totally understand that. But when you're at Old Trafford, fans or no fans, you got to put teams to the sword. And unfortunately, we wasn't well able to do that last evening.
So, with this loss, obviously a dent in the title hopes. Do you see them winning the Premier League? Do you still see the hope in that, or what do you think?
I'll be very honest. I didn't see us winning the Premier League this season. If I'm going to sit and say, yeah, I'll be lying. I don't do things like that. I'm generally hoping we can finish in the top four. And if we get the show back on the road come the weekend against Arsenal, I can't see why we shouldn't finish in the top four. Like I said, I just thought, really, really disappointed that we wasn't able to continue that form and beat Sheffield United and go back to the top of the table. Nothing's given out at the end of January. Nothing's given out in February. We've got to get through to May. So let's see where we're at in May.
Yeah. What about, because there's still other trophies out there. It's not just the Premier League, obviously, beating Liverpool in the FA Cup, the Champions League. Do you see them winning a trophy in either of those or going further on?
I'm hoping now, Yeah, I'm hoping we can have a real good run in the FA Cup now, beating Liverpool in the Europa Cup as well.
Yeah.
The Europa competition. Hopefully we can go as far as we can do in that competition as well. Getting knocked out of the Champions League was a bit of disappointment, but you got to pick yourself up and dust yourself down and move on.
What do you see this Arsenal game then? Saturday. It's a big game. You've played in some momentous Arsenal matches against Arsenal. Actually, your youth career began at Arsenal. How do you see this game on Saturday?
It's another tough game for Manchester United. I think Man United have to get themselves back on the horse, so to speak. Losing to Sheffield United last evening, they know now they have to go into this game and try to get 3 points. If they believe that they can generally stay in a fight for win the Premier League this season, they have to win. I don't think a draw is going to be enough, because you've got to look at Manchester City now. Manchester City played a weekend and they've got Sheffield United. I can't see Sheffield United doing what they did to Manchester United to Manchester City. So, so Man United will have to take 3 points at the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah. Rightly so. Listen, here, my final question, Andy. We're looking at the Premier League. Obviously, a lot of teams that are, pretty inspiring. Aside from your supposed big six, etc. Is there any team that you're looking at this league and you're saying this is a great, great club and it's not being mentioned enough? Is there anybody out there that deserves perhaps a bigger mention when you look at this season?
I genuinely do believe Leicester, Brendan Rodgers. I look at Leicester, they play real good football. I like the way they play. They counter-attack football. He's got some good players in there. They've quietly gone about their business. I don't think they'll win it. I have to be very honest, but I do genuinely believe they've got a great opportunity to finish in the top four.
All right, let's do a top four then. End of the season. Who's your top four, would you say?
Top four now, I'd most probably go for Manchester City, Man United, Liverpool, Leicester.
There you go. Villa gets a Europa, maybe, Andy?
Sorry?
Villa gets a Europa spot, maybe?
Villa, they had a real poor result for them last evening. They really did. I know Burnley are basically fighting for their life every season. I would expect Villa to go in there and got themselves a real good result, and it didn't work out. So Europa running down to, what is it, 8th position, is it? 8. It's a good possibility. But I'm hoping if it does happen, that does happen for Villa, it doesn't hinder them the season after with not having a big enough squad and then struggling in the Premier League.
Absolutely right. Well, Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Honestly, thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to just give a quick promo to your book, your autobiography, Fast Forward. You can find it on Amazon, anywhere really. Also, the Andy Cole Fund, part of the kidney research in the UK. Just go to kidneyresearchuk.org. I don't know if there was any other promos that you wanted me to mention, but to me, those were the main two, Andy. Honestly, thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Andy Cole for joining me today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Golazo Pod. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Stitcher. This show is also on YouTube. We're everywhere, cbssports.com. Please make sure that you leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to share and spread the love so we grow our little family here, that would be grand. Thank you and have a great, great weekend.